Hi folks, this is a short discussion about how Google Scholar can be useful for students who need to do literature reviews and to find literature on topics they're interested in. I'm going to start by just going up here to the Google Scholar search box and typing in my own name. And when I do that, it does a search and it pops up papers that I've written that have been published in journals, and it pops up proceedings from conferences and a whole pile of things like that. So what I'm going to show you is the most useful things in Google Scholar for doing lit searches, lit reviews, and defining literature on topics you're interested in. The first thing I'm going to click on is the quote sign that's up here that's under the first paper. And when I do that, it pulls up the reference, the citation reference, in a number of different types of formats. The field that I work in is education, and they mostly always use APA. The thing to know about these formats from Google Scholar is that they are mostly right, but not entirely right. So, for instance, with this paper, under the APA format, it says it's from the Journal of Research and Science Teaching, the official journal of the National Association for Research and Science Teaching. And in the proper APA reference, that whole, the official journal of the National Association for Research and Science Teaching, should not be there. Sometimes the tool also gets the name of the journal a little wrong, and it can get the wrong formatting for things like italics and spacing and commas and stuff like that incorrect too. So it's a rough approximation of the citation format that you want to use, but not an exact one, and you do have to check it. So the next thing we're going to look at is the list of things that this paper was cited by. So I'm going to click on this one. It says cited by 304, which means there's 304 sources that Google Scholar says this paper has been cited by. I'm going to click on that, and that gives you the list of all of those sorts of sources. The first one here is by Besmer and Kress, Writing in Multimodal Texts, a paper I've never read before, but apparently it's cited one of mine. It's from a journal called Written Communication, and it's been cited 1,025 times. That type of information is useful for a graduate student because something that's been cited a large number of times, which varies a lot from field to field, by the way, but something that's been cited a large number of times could be considered to be a bit more of an authoritative reference than something that's been cited once or twice. If it came out this year, once or twice makes sense. If it came out 7 years ago, once or twice means that the people in the field are not paying a lot of attention to that particular paper. And for grad students, that can be really useful to know. So, looking here at Besmer and Kress, it's in Written Communication. I think, hey, maybe I want that paper. That might be really useful. So I'm going to go over here to where it says all 9 versions, and I'm going to click on that, because that suggests that there's different versions of this paper available. And one of them, of course, is going to be at the journal website. Another one might be a preprint or something like that at ResearchGate or the professor's website or something like that. But I'm going to click on this one here, which is from somewhere else. It says PDF written. Maybe it's the whole paper. And I click on that, and it is indeed the entire paper. Now, publishers don't like it when you do that, because for them, it's really useful to know that a paper has been downloaded, because the counts of the number of downloads matter in the metrics that journal publishers collect that talk about how important and how relevant the journal is. And knowing how many people have read something from that journal is part of the metrics they use to determine importance. But irrespective of that, this paper is available as a PDF from Besmer and Kress, and you can go get it from there. Now, another thing to know is that sometimes a journal has made arrangements. So the full journal paper could be at ResearchGate, for instance, and the ResearchGate is arranged with the publisher to include downloads from ResearchGate as the count that the publisher has for the number of times the article has been downloaded. I don't know if that's the case here with textile.lmc.gatech.edu, but I would suspect that's actually something to do with the institution that these writers are at. Okay, so I'm going to go back now to the original paper I was pointing at, and by Roth and I. And when you look at that, the last one to pay attention to is related articles. And when you click on related articles, you get other articles that those authors might have written that have keywords in the descriptors or in the title that are similar to this one. So even though they may not cite this particular paper, they're still related articles. And so I'm going to click on that. And you can see that there's a number of related articles written by Roth and a couple of others that may not have cited that directly, but they do actually deal with similar sorts of topics as the one that we took a look at. And it doesn't necessarily have to be just those articles. Here's one by somebody, Bastide, Representation in Scientific Practice, that also is considered to be related to the original article. So rather than searching by my name, we're going to go back to the beginning and I'll just show you one more thing. And that is that you can search by topic that you're interested in too. So say I'm interested in undergraduate science graphing, to see if there's research on graphing with undergraduates. So when I do that, it pulls up one of my papers because we have a paper on that, but it also pulls up papers by other people on that topic, right? And so that allows you to then also find papers for your literature review that you can then do those forward and backward searches on. So you're not just limited to searching by author name, you can search by topic, you can search by journal name as well. If you go back to the beginning here and look at what I searched under, you can see that I also searched NSTA Science in Children, which is a practitioner's journal from the National Science Teaching Association. And you can then look at journals that refer to that. And unsurprisingly, there's a bunch of them that actually represent that particular journal. So you can search by topics, keywords that you use. You can search by journal name. You can search by publisher, which in this case was NSTA. There's a number of different ways you can also search using Google Scholar. So that's a short description of how Google Scholar can be useful for a graduate student. It allows you to search both forwards and backwards. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention the backwards sense. This paper itself is going to have references that you might find useful. So when you look at that paper and the reference list, there might be other things there that help you expand your literature search. And the cited by allows you to search forward also to find other things that might be useful for your literature search. I mean, this particular paper came out 22 years ago. So there will be more recent papers on that topic, and those might be the ones that you want to search. Anyways, that's my short discussion of Google Scholar, and I hope you found that interesting and useful.